Hi, and welcome to the Natural Healing Rail. I'm Jackie. And as per usual, my guest today is a multi-talented person. She's a reflexologist, Reiki master, and a life and self-love coach. She founded a podcast called Soul TLC back in 2014. Please welcome Tina Carter to the Natural Healing Rail. Hey, Tina.
Hi. Thanks for asking me to join you. And actually, Soul TLC is not a podcast. It's just the name of my business.
Sorry about that, a podcast, and it's not called TLC. What is your podcast called?
Yeah, it's called Soul TLC. Oh. Yeah, but it's not a podcast. I haven't gone into that avenue yet.
Okay, got it. And so tell us a bit about yourself. Like, how did this journey all start for you?
Okay.
You were born and then just kidding.
So it started really when we moved here to Red Deer. I grew up in Dawson Creek, way up north in BC, born and raised there. And we moved here in 2012. And I was an office person, like bookkeeping. I worked in, I was secretary in an elementary school for years. And when we moved here, I kind of had this grand idea that life was all of a sudden just going to be perfect. I'm going to meet all these people, and it's just going to be hunky-dory. Well, it certainly wasn't that. It was the beginning of my journey into myself. And so my husband at the time had a job. He was working 24/7. So I was basically me. I didn't know a soul here, so I got laid off from a couple different bookkeeping jobs, and I just asked, like, what am I supposed to be doing with the rest of my life? And instantly it came to my mind, when I was a child, I had really bad migraine headaches, and mom tried, doctors and whatever, chiropractors and medicine and whatever, and nothing would help these headaches. So she finally took me to a reflexologist. I had 2 sessions and I've never had another migraine. So I learned reflexology and that was the start of my business. So from there, it kind of, led into learning about chakras and our energy bodies. So I took all the courses and became a Reiki master, teacher. And that led to, with the reflexology and the Reiki, I just really started making the connection of, how much our emotional trauma that we've stuffed in our bodies affects our bodies and our minds and everything about us, right? And that is the energy that we carry around with us everywhere that we go, all day long, every day, and not even being aware of it. So I got into the coaching aspect of my business because I want to help teach people, there's just so much more than what you're living. There's so much more if you take the time to heal those emotional wounds within you, you can be free. So in my own life, I grew up in a single parent home. My mom was and dad were divorced when I was quite young. And my mom was, quite manipulative and very needy herself, right? She was always searching for that man to fulfill her. And so I learned very young that I didn't matter. I just was there to do her bidding, kind of thing. I had a sister 9 years younger. I basically was mom to her. I just learned that, I didn't matter. And that's what I carried through my whole life. And that, I didn't really fit anywhere. And so I spent my whole life trying to fit, and it just kind of brought me into depression big time. I got married, had a couple kids, got divorced, remarried, and in my my second marriage now, which is 30 years this year. You know,
Congratulations.
yeah, he had a couple kids, I had a couple kids, so that blended family and all that goes with that, it's just kind of craziness at times. But you know, we do what we do to get through. And so in all of that happening before I knew about energy and I knew about healing, I mean, life was not good. Very depressed. My two kids went to live with their dad when they were 10 and 11. So that brought me right down to bottom. It was like I just couldn't even function, and took medication to get me out of that one. So
That's okay. That's what it's for. It's for short-term use, right? It's for,
right. Yeah. Yeah. And again, that was before I knew about energy and all of that, right? So yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of going on and on and on. You can butt in whenever you feel like it.
well, but I think that's all really super important, right? Because when we share from that level, then people can identify, because people don't want to share that they've struggled.
Yeah.
For some reason, because the vulnerability is to putting ourselves out there to say, you know, this was kind of what was actually real for me, is very challenging for a lot of people. And that vulnerability is the authenticity of who we are. But there's so much fear for us to be vulnerable, because people take advantage. They go, oh, weakness, boom. And I think that it's very important to have leaders like yourself to stand up and be authentic and say, you know what? That's it. It just is. And from that, right, from the darkest nights brings the brightest stars.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
You know what? Like, none of us are trauma free. We've all got a story to tell. We just hide behind that story, thinking that we're going to stay safe, but it doesn't stay safe. It just keeps you small, and there's no freedom in that. You're always trying to fit in, or you're always trying to get somebody to like you, or you know, I call myself I used to be the best chameleon, because it didn't matter who I was with, I would change in order to fit that group of people, which
I think that's common, don't you? I think that's a common thing, and I don't think people say that.
Yeah,
I don't think that people are honest enough to say, you know what, I don't even know who I am actually, because I'm here with them and here, and I know we do have all these sub-personalities that we carry around with us, but it's more than that, isn't it? It's not having the self-love.
Absolutely. And that is my bottom line these days. It's like, if you don't learn to love all of who you are, all the good, bad, and ugly, because we've all got it all, and accept everything, then you are forever going to be trapped. You're forever going to be stuck in that not good enough place.
Yes.
And you know, I mean,
we all have, right? That I believe we all have, and definitely to varying degrees. But I have found out that a lot of times the people that have had the most perfect upbringings sometimes are more damaged, because they're trying to be perfect all the time. And that was a real awakening for me, you know, like the straight A, perfect family, doctor, all of that. And they're saying, you know what, no, I'm you know, suicidal. I'm not happy. I'm right. And nobody knows. Nobody knows. Could you imagine if you knew your doctor was suicidal? Right. So nobody speaks out. Right. So everybody's doing this in silence, trying to pretend they're good. I'm good. Right. Living the dream. Right. It's just,
oh yeah.
You know,
people would look at me and think I had it all together, but inside I was just empty. There was nothing there. I was just this walking zombie going through life.
In your head and not in your heart.
Well, right? I would say both. So when I got into learning about chakras and stuff, I did this little online test, right? And every single one of my chakras were closed, not even like partially open. Everything was just shut down.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you're like a whole new being for sure then. Yeah, because all I could feel your energy and it's all wide open, right?
Oh, yeah. No, I was
Yeah.
so full of anger and so, resentful and so, but yet I didn't even like feel those. It was just like I was just numb, right? Just going through the motions of life and just, going day to day and just doing what I had to do. And that was it. Putting on the smile.
But see, that's I think our common link, right? Is that everybody, and then they're not even checking in to really know what to do, or that they actually like, what degree am I at, right? And because the conversation isn't really out. Well, I mean, I think it's becoming more, heard, that people are starting to share what's real and what's true, because I think the energies are so intense. We have to do something to help ourselves at this point, right?
Yeah,
So
sure.
tell us about how do you learn to self-love? How do you go from that state and start to move? Like what do you do to go to even make the awareness, the transition?
Well, for me, I mean, it started with the energy work, really. Actually, that's not true. It started with the reflexology. I started doing that on myself. And then a year later is when I learned the first level of Reiki. So I started doing the reflexology and the Reiki. And I mean, I never cried so many tears. I cried for like 3 years straight. And it was just such a release of everything that was built up within me. So what are the steps? I mean, I don't even know, because everything combines, right? So you can definitely start with energy work. If you don't know about energy, dig into it, like find out. There's such healing in your hands. You have no idea. Everybody's got it. It's not, a select few that can heal. It's everybody. Everybody can do it. It's amazing.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, I love that.
So energy is number one. And just allowing whatever emotions to come up, allowing it all and feeling it all, right? I mean, so if your stomach is tight, so for me, my stomach was always tight. I was always holding in my stomach. Well, that's your root chakra and your sacral chakra, which is your security, your foundations, nurturing yourself, loving yourself. I mean, that was just in a tight knot my whole life and didn't even realize it, right? So getting aware, becoming aware of your body and feeling your body, like ask yourself in some quiet time, just sit there and just ask, okay, what's my body feeling right now? Where am I tight? What's that all about? Just start inquiring yourself about what's going on in here. Meditation is another awesome thing. And I mean, there's a gazillion ways to meditate. There's, guided meditation, there's breath meditations, there's silent meditations. Check them out. Be curious, right? Right now I'm into just silent meditation. And I just, I breathe deeply a few times and just sit and just ask myself questions and try and, just be aware of where I'm at, be aware of, what's going on around me. What am I hearing? All the different things. Do you know that every bug has a different buzz? So I was out lying in the sun one day and just, kind of just nothing on my mind, whatever. Anyways, a bug would come and it had a certain buzz. And I would look and, oh, it's a fly. So then I heard another little buzz. So I look and here it's a tiny, tiny little fly, and they're all different. I mean,
Wow.
creation is amazing, right?
Yeah.
Learning to silence yourself in that way just brings you clarity. It brings peace. It brings just a serenity within you, right? Which
Mhm.
allows the love to come through. Yeah, another way is deep breathing, right? Taking deep, deep breaths and imagining your whole body just filling up like a balloon all the way up to the top of your head, and holding that breath and feeling the expansion within your body, and then letting it go. Whew. It just is so calming and so refreshing.
That beautiful. It's so relaxing just to even hear you to say what you're doing, because you can just put yourself into the meditative state, just listen, and that's what that is, right? Is it's
Yeah.
just slowing every down. I love the bug buzzing. I love that because that's how aware you are, and that's
Yeah.
present, and
Yeah.
that's unpresent that we are, because we're like, you can hear the bugs buzzing, right? Do you know what I mean? Like just the fact that you're just there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
And that's the place where instant healing takes place, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I
That
said,
is
it just brings such an openness to everything, right? And your mind is not busy. Oh, I got to be doing this. I got to phone that person. I got to go there. I got to do this. Mind chatter, right? Ah, stop already.
yeah,
Just relax. Just chill. That's my motto. Just chill.
yeah, yeah, and the breath, right? There, like the understanding that I have about all the different breathing and how, doing 5 breaths like this can reset your whole alkalinity in your body. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
these things, you're starting to feel anxious. Well, if you did this breath, well, there's all these different breaths that you could do in this very short time to reset yourself. That's information I think that we need to know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you can do that breath work anywhere. It takes,
Anyway,
and it can take anywhere from 1 minute to 3 hours. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Take a few deep breaths, go in the bathroom if you're at work, take a few deep breaths and just feel your body reset, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so the other thing I love about what you were saying earlier about just feeling the energy, because a lot of times our body is feeling uncomfortable and we're not paying attention, and then we're just taking something to jam it down, right, to get rid of it. But it's all about, it's not, we have this notion that we're supposed to just feel nothing. When we're living in this place, in this universe, well, of course, we're going to have things moving through us all the time, right?
Yeah.
And instead of going, okay, well, it just is, and allowing it through, we're clenching down when we're uncomfortable, and blocking it inside.
Yeah.
And,
Or
and
we find other things to do so we don't feel that, right? The distraction.
yeah,
Yeah.
I heard that the multitasking and new information is that we need to stop. And I was like, oh, yes. Because after lots of brain trauma that I went through, I can't multitask anymore. And because it's all coming at us so fast, it's it's overwhelming to do that. And so to hear that, no, it's actually, we're not doing that anymore. Society's going to let us off the hook on that one now and saying you can't do anything, can't do 2 things properly. Right? Of course you
Right.
can. But we've all been doing 5 things improperly at the same time. For how long? Right? And then over jamming our nervous system and our lives, and then not feeling like we're doing enough because so and so's got her kids at 3 different sports after school, and it's just this comparison that we do as well, right?
Yeah, the comparison and the overwhelm that it brings and the stress onto your life. I think that during the pandemic, right, everybody had to slow down, and it was
That.
yeah, but it was like really hard for a lot of people because so many people are not into that place where they can just be, right? We're human beings, we're not human doings. So anyways, the pandemic brought us to that place where we had to slow down. We had to stop whatever was out there keeping us busy and going and doing. And I feel like now that things are opening up again somewhat, I mean, at least here, right? I feel out there that is coming back in. Okay. Now you got to grow your business. Now you got to, do this. You got to do, go again all of a sudden. And it's like, no. I've spent my whole life doing and being and going for other people. And so now, I need to rest, and that's okay.
And that's okay.
And that's okay.
Yeah, that's the permission we don't give ourselves. We're so hard on ourselves, aren't we? And we're not aware. We're just not aware of what we're doing half the time.
Yeah.
And I think that even as you become aware, the unfolding of that, those, 60, 80,000 thoughts a day that we're chitter-chattering away in that brain that we're not aware of, the unfolding of those thoughts, and they're not just shocking, but they're kind of seem like there's a lot to unravel and to be like, okay, why am I thinking that? Where did that even come from? Like just having that time to replace and have a look at what we are thinking about, and where did that belief even come from?
Exactly.
And we heard it somewhere, we believed it as truth.
That's right.
Whose truth is that? Right?
That's right.
That's so incredible.
And so, that's another benefit of slowing down and just being still, right? Is you learn what your truth is. And, it's okay to question everything. It's okay to question, everything. Like, why do I believe that? Where did it come from?
Yeah.
So we were talking about this the other day, and somebody said, every Thanksgiving or whatever, they cook a ham, but they always cut the ends of the ham off because that's what their grandmother did. Yeah, but why do you do that? Like, what's the purpose of that?
They don't know.
They don't know. I don't know. It's just that's what we've always done. But you know what the original thing was grandma or whoever it was cut the ends off so it would fit in the pot. Right? Like, okay. All right.
Yeah. No, it's actually that. And a lot of our beliefs and our judgments of ourselves and others is based on that, right? Is it even real? Is it truth? Well, no, it's not. It's all just old stories and judgments and not enoughness of, ourselves and mirroring back to each other's. And,
and what society, tells us is true, and we take that on. What our parents told us was true, and we take that. I mean, now, you know what? If you want to be free, and that's part of loving yourself, right? Question your beliefs. Why do you believe what you believe?
Yeah. And it's a process. It's a process. Like do you think that that's a lifer, or do you think that that's do you think that you go through that and then you finally come to kind of the end of the placement, or
No, because we're always growing. We're always changing. And so our beliefs and the way we do everything changes all the time.
Yeah.
So what I believe today may be totally different from what I believe 5 years from now, or even a month from now. And that's okay.
Good for you. You need to drink your milk with your right?
Yeah.
It's that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And it's a lifelong, like this whole thing is a lifelong process. It's not a journey with a destination. It's a process until the day that we're not here anymore on this earth.
That's a really great day, that, because I think that just having that awareness, right? Like you're just trying to expand as much as you can that day.
Yeah.
Instead of, we're all going for the end game. Okay, I'm here, now what? And you can see even, once you start doing that, okay, I've got that. Now, nobody's even happy for that moment. Once they're there, they're already off onto the next thing, right? And so there's not that self, like we're not even taking time for that.
Yeah.
I did all of that, and here I am, and I got that. Then you're like, oh, okay, good. Okay, now what?
Yeah.
Instead of really enjoying any of it. So
that's
the
right.
end game thing isn't good either.
No, it's not. that destination mindset. I mean, we really have to do away with that, because there is no destination. There's just one experience, then the next one, then the next one, then the next one. They're just all experiences that we need to, take in and enjoy while we're on this earth.
And it's all perception, right? It's all how we want to perceive it. So we can perceive it with the glass half full or half empty as well, right? Which it's funny how all those little things, the simplicity of it is just so simplistic. It's like, well, yeah, but to implement them, I don't know that our society hasn't shown or taught that at all on how to go within, or how that we are energy. I'll say is, well, we're all energy, everything's energy, right? And some people will just look at you like, okay, what's she talking about?
I know.
Like it's just like a foreign thing. And it's like, do you remember science class, grade 5, and we were everything's energy, right? Infinite.
Yeah.
Like we're infinite. Like everything is, it's just a vibration of the frequency that we're putting out there.
Absolutely.
What are you broadcasting today? Right?
Yeah.
And I think that the power of our thoughts is such a great thing, because I don't think that anybody really realizes how powerful that is, and how quickly that thought is being manifested these days.
Well, if you think about it, everything begins with a thought, right? I mean, even in the Bible, you go back to the Bible, God thought of the world. I mean, he created everything by a thought, right? In our own lives, if you think you're not good enough, well, guess what? You're not going to be good enough. If you think that you're not worthy, guess what? You're not worthy. If you think that no good ever comes to you, guess what? No good ever will come to you. And you'll always be in struggle. You'll always be in struggle. So again, it's from our past experiences that shape our thoughts, right? And our thoughts are always to keep us safe. So for me, even to come on this podcast, I had to do some talking to myself, because it's like, well, who do you think you are that you can go on a podcast and talk about anything that anybody wants to listen to? Well, it's like,
Right.
well, be quiet. I've learned a few things. Here I am, right? So it's a constant thing that you have to be aware of your thoughts. If you're beating yourself up in your mind, other people are going to beat you up. It's that mirror effect, right? So if whatever you're thinking about is going to come back to you from out here. So, if you don't respect who you are, right? Other people aren't going to respect you.
So this is really, really important. And I hope that that this is coming across, because this is everything right there.
Yeah.
When we're thinking about something, we're judging, like questioning ourselves, that is the energy we're broadcasting. That is our radio station, right? And people will see us as the energy that we're vibrating, and what we're putting across, and what we're thinking about. Yeah. And I think that that's invaluable. Just that, just that, like we're setting that intention today. How can I be the best version of myself today? How can I be of service today? Like, how can those are, I was asking the wrong questions. So asking questions is so important, and asking for help and guidance, and speak louder if I can't hear it. Those are all great tools, but we have to ask.
We do. Yeah.
Otherwise they can't, because of free will, nobody, your guides, angels, whomever your family that's with you, trying to help guide you and speak to you, they can't help you unless we are open and asking and willing.
That's right.
But I understand. And since when I started to ask, it actually was like, I was like, okay, wow. I didn't grow up with any understanding of religion or any of that, very ignorant to the whole thing. Just my parents had a thing, and it's really a powerful thing. Yeah. It's just, they just twisted it with so much fear that, right?
Well, yeah, because we fear what we don't know, right? I mean, all of us are surrounded by so many angelic beings. We have no idea the power that is with us, right? And within us, because we've never been taught that. And so even those of us who are, I'm going to say, becoming more aware,
Yes.
that scares us still. I mean, I for myself, I feel like there's still a part of me that feels like, well, if I step fully into this stuff, what are people going to think of me? Right? If I am honest and speak what I believe, are people going to think I'm off my rocker? Are people going to think, and honestly, who the hell cares what people think? Am I being true to me? In a lot of areas now, still, no, I'm not. Right? But that's part of the process. The more that I am loving on myself, and the more that I'm opening to all that I am, I will be able to share more of who I am with whoever. It doesn't matter.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah. We get
Yeah.
stuck. We get stuck in, again, the thoughts, right?
And so when you're having that experience for yourself, what do you do to switch your paradigm from that, when you're starting to go down the rabbit hole of the brain, going, the beat up, and then how do you transition? Like, do you do breath? Do you do like a new story? Do you have, like, what tools do you use to?
So yeah, a lot of times it's breath. Absolutely. I always come back to the breath, because it's an almost instant, okay, it's okay. It's going to be all right. It's just that instant release. Journaling is great. Writing out all those thoughts that are going around and around and around. You just start writing, and you don't worry about punctuation. You don't worry about sentences. You don't worry about proper format, spelling, anything. You just write whatever's going on in here, whatever's got you in that state.
Yeah.
Write it out.
Yeah.
And what you're doing is you're getting it out of you, right? So now it's out of you and it's on paper. Don't reread it. Don't reread that junk. You just leave it there, because if you reread it, you're putting it all back in. You just leave it there on the page.
That's
You
brilliant.
can rip it out of your journal and, toss it if you want, or burn it, or whatever, or just leave it. Close the book. This is my dump book. This is where I dump, and that's where it stays. Yeah, so that helps a lot.
And I think we have to process that. Like, I know for myself, I have to process. So lots of times when I'm working through stuff, I'm processing out loud to whomever gets the lucky day of hanging out with me. Right? But it has to be
that too.
Yeah, it just has.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just for naught, right? Like, I have to, like, okay, so what did that mean, and how can I, right, reorganize? Yeah, and lots of times that takes time by ourselves, which there seems to be a shortage of time and alone, right? There's always those things that when we need the most seem to get in our way of not having, right?
Well, that's true, but that's also an excuse, right? Because we always make time for the things that are important to us. So you make time.
The resistance, like, right?
Yeah.
There's my resistance.
Yeah.
Let me tell you why I can't.
Yeah. Yeah. You make time for what's important to you. So, I mean, I love my alone time. I love to be alone a lot. And that's my recharge. That's my, that's my, where I get clarity. That's, that's where it's at for me. And when I'm with people, again, because everything is energy, and, you soak up other people's energies. You just do, right? And so when then I have to come home and just have some time alone again and recharge. It's like your cell phone battery. If you don't keep plugging it in and recharging it, it's going to die and it's not going to be any good. Well, the same.
Great analogy right there. That's good, right? Just for people to just get that snapshot of, oh, okay, yeah, I'm going to recharge.
Yeah. So it's the same with us. You know, we go days and weeks and months, sometimes years, without checking in with ourselves. How are we doing? You got to recharge.
And so with the body awareness, when you go in and you check those areas, does it not actually just bringing that awareness in there? Does it not kind of clean and clear, just having the attention that there is sort of tightness and energy there, just kind of sitting with it and not judging or whatever, but just sitting with it. It helps it to move through us, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Just being aware of your body. And, you know, sometimes if I'm like super tight in my chest, I feel super tight a lot. And that's the heart area, right? So, I mean, everything affects the heart. Whatever is going on in your world, it affects your heart. So a lot of times what I'll do in my breathing exercises is, you know, I'll just breathe in and just kind of sit with it for a bit. And then I'll feel a nudge to like, just breathe it out. So I'll breathe in, expanding everything, expanding my chest really lots. And on the out breath through the mouth, I imagine all that tightness just coming out of you, coming out of me, right? And just releasing it that way. It's not that I am, it's not that I'm trying to bypass feeling, because I have felt, I've taken the time to feel it, and now it's time to release it, right?
Yeah. And just having the awareness of having it, feeling it, and releasing it. It's not like there's no set time. Like you don't need to have it in there and feel it for a certain amount of time, or right? Because our brain likes to go too, but there's, you know, to get us back out of the process, right? I don't know if I did it long enough, maybe it didn't work, right? That kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, get out of the mind. Sheesh.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. It's that's where intuition comes in, right? I mean, we're all intuitive. We all have senses about certain things. You know, how many times have you thought, well, I should phone so and so, and all of a sudden they phone you, right? I mean, that's that's intuition.
Just so love stuff, don't you?
Yeah.
It's so much fun, that stuff.
So we all have that stuff, and you know, I mean, it's there for a reason. Use it and trust it. It's part of loving yourself.
Yes. So I think that that's a big thing as well, because our intuition, people have society's given it not a lot of respect or the proper respect that we need to have for that, because it is our higher self that is speaking. And because it's that soft voice, we listen to we're not sure what to listen to, right? We've got the computer chip going on in the brain, right? Which is, we think that's real, but it's not. It's just a whole bunch of stories that we've picked up generations old, right?
Yes.
And it's such a, I don't know, I could talk about energy and this one forever and ever. And I really am grateful that you came in and you sharing from the level of, you know what, am I safe here still? No, I'm still walking through fear to do this, right? Like it's, and who do we care? Oh, maybe some friends that really aren't even our friends. What are they, like, really think about what it is we're walking through fear from, right?
Yeah.
Because when we're nervous, right, just remember we're being of service. I love that little.
That's great. Yeah.
It takes you out of the ego, right? It takes you out of, you know what? Yeah, I'll just dump that because I'm here to if there's one person that's were to hear what you're sharing, and then they go, you know what? I really, oh my God, that's me. I resonated with that. Yeah. And she's done this. And you know what? We don't even know half of the time that that's happened.
That's true. That's true. You know what? I mean, we're so perfection oriented these days. And I just want to say, you know what? There isn't a person on this earth that is perfect. Even though they may come across That's what they want you to see, because they're so insecure in themselves that they have to put up that front for everybody to see. But honestly, there's nobody that's perfect. We've all got our deals. We've all got our stuff to work through, and we're all the same. We're the same. We all need love. We all need to feel needed. We all need, encouragement. We all need all of these things. They just come across in different packages.
Yeah. And, other people are feeling how you're feeling. Like, is the thing, right? We think we're alone. And we really, I think with the COVID, really with the isolation and doing all of that, even though it was that double-edged sword, right? Like, it so needed to happen, because I don't think that we could have gone any faster.
Mm-mm.
I know for myself, I just couldn't even, I was like, hey, slow down. It was just too much going on all the time. And then, it's just, anyway, that double-edged sword, there's such the good, and then there's the, right. And so when we're looking at what didn't work, what we need to do is look at what did I get from that? Like, what were the wins that I got out of that negative thing? Because that's always, right. The contrast is coming, right? The polarized universe that we live in, it's coming. So know that. That's what I tell myself anyways for
yeah, well, it's true. It's true, right?
It's tough, right?
It's I think that we get so caught up in the hamster wheel that, anything spiritual or anything of meaning, and I'm talking about ourselves, in working within ourselves, it just gets thrown by the wayside because there's so much out here grabbing for our attention. So it really is a conscious decision now. We've had a taste of it through the pandemic to slow down and to, spend some time in solitude and whatever. Now it's our choice. Are we going to continue that? Maybe not to the degree that it was during the pandemic, but are we going to continue that in our lives now and get to know who we are?
Yeah.
Really, instead of who, the perception that is out there of us. Are we really going to take that time and dig deep? What makes me tick? Who am I?
Yeah.
What do I want?
And another great question, that's how do I want to be perceived? Just like that, there's a couple of questions like that. Just the right questions are really important. Instead, I was asking questions like, what did I do to deserve this, right? Who did I screw over?
And that comes from the victim mentality, from all our wounds.
Yeah.
Which is where we were, isn't it?
That's right. And all of us play victims so well that we don't even know half the time that we're playing it. And it's such a powerless place to come from, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's really no shifting it, blaming and pointing finger at somebody else. You're there then. If somebody else did that to you, well, guess what? You get to stay there because that person you've just given your power of, well, that's not mine, or whatever it is, right? It's so re-perceiving our everything, I believe, isn't it?
Yeah.
This starts with that, like some breath and into the heart and opening up the body and allowing out the old and in with the new, right?
Yeah.
Do you teach? Do you have courses that you're doing online? How can people get a hold of you, and how can they learn from you? How does that work for you in this COVID era?
Okay, well, I don't have any courses as of yet. I am in process of doing up a few. You can, if you're interested in coaching with me, I offer a 6-week, 3-month, and 6 months programs, or whatever you want to call them. So you can get in touch with me through my website, which is www.soultosoultlc.com, and it's spelled SOLETOSOULTLC.com. And you can just fill out the form on my website and set up a complimentary discovery call and we can go from there. You can also follow me on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. I'm on there.
And it's all the same, under the same Soul to Soul? Yeah.
Under Tina, Facebook is under Tina Carter or Soul to Soul. I have Tina Carter and then a business page, Soul to Soul. And the others are Tina Carter.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really grateful to have met you, and I love that that you're sharing this information. And anyway, I hope that you'll reach out. We can have another chat, one of your courses, and I'm feeling a little book is in the works as well. Is that something that you're doing?
It is. Yes, that's been on my heart to do for a few years. I've actually started writing now for a couple magazines, and so I'm getting my writing juices flowing, and yeah, it's not going to be too long and a book will pop out too.
See, there's that intuition. I just had that feeling.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you have a great rest of your day, and let's try to catch up down the road.
Sounds good, Jacqueline.
Okay, bye, Tina.
Bye-bye.